Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. So this video is going to be for the Samsung Galaxy J7. Now this phone was released back in 2015, I believe, and so definitely it has been a while, but I still believe that this phone has some kind of value that it can offer to customers now, and it's a very cheap option that can offer you with a decent amount of performance, and it's an overall a good phone for the average user. So without further ado, here's the video. Alright, so first things first, the display. So this one is a 5.5 inch Super AMOLED display, and what this means is that it's a very good display from Samsung. As we all know, their displays are the best in the game. Now the resolution on this one is 720 by 1280 pixels per inch, and the brightness on this phone gets plenty bright, and you can even go further, and you can go here and it says outdoor mode, and then you have this thing, you can just tap on it and it increases the brightness even further. So depending on your need, it's a very good viewing experience. You could definitely see when you're outside, your phone will be plenty bright in those sunlight conditions. Now I know that now in 2020 we tend to see a lot of phones that are having 120 hertz displays refresh, and this one, since it was released in 2015, you're getting a standard 60 hertz display, and it doesn't mean that it's slow, but you know, it's a little not choppy, but it's definitely not as smooth as what you would get with a 120 hertz display. But altogether, it's a very good phone, and the display will not let you down. And just on a quick side note, if you want to know the ratio, it's a 16:9 aspect ratio, so it's a little bit on the wider kind of side. I know a lot of Samsung's phones, especially today, tend to be a lot more skinnier and taller rather than wide, whereas the iPhones are very wide and very chunky. So if you like that feel, you'll like this one because it's relatively wide and not as skinny and tall. Now if you want a skinnier phone, you could still do with this. I mean, the one-handed usage is pretty decent on this phone, and you could definitely like this little trick right here where you can pull down the notification bar from just the home screen. You could enable that, and it'll just make your pulling down the notification shade a lot easier. Now, viewing content on here is excellent because you don't get interrupted by anything, especially when you're in the dark. You won't even see those bezels, and it's just a whole screen viewing experience. And with my time with this phone, I've definitely loved the screen. The colors are beautiful, and they're vibrant and punchy, as you would like from a Super AMOLED display, and typically the colors that Samsung offers on these types of displays. So this is a very good viewing experience, and you could see here the detail is just fascinating. I love this screen. It's a very good screen for watching content, especially on YouTube or Amazon Prime, whatever it may be. You will not be let down by the screen. This screen is fantastic. Alright guys, now for the battery. So the battery on this phone is a pretty small size battery. Now this phone does have removable back, and you can see right here that it has a 3000 milliamp hour battery. It's not the biggest, but it will get you through the day, but you will have to charge it every once in a while. So with my time using this phone, it definitely struggled to get me through the day. But for those who don't typically use their phones so much throughout the day, you definitely will be fine with this phone. The only reason I struggled was because I'm a heavy user. I use my phone more than most people, so the battery definitely did struggle keeping up with me. So for the average person, it should be perfectly fine. If you are a power user, you might need to charge it once or twice throughout the day just to keep it going. And this one, it has a USB port, so it's not a USB Type-C like we see on most phones today, but it is what it is. And we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack here, which is great. We are not seeing those anymore on current flagships. We only see them on mid-rangers and potentially some other budget phones. And we have our noise canceling mic down here. So we definitely will be getting the headphone jack, which is great for some people who don't want to have wireless headphones and who have the really nice compatible 3.5 millimeter headphone jack wired headphones, whatever it may be, whether Beats. And it also has a mic up here. You can't really see it, but it's right here. So yeah. And also for the SIM tray and the SD card, they are not on the surrounding edges of the phone. It's actually back here. So once again, you might need to take this off. And I know this one's kind of broken. It's taken some abuse over the years, and it's a story within itself. So here you'll find your SIM card, and then this is going to be for your SD card, as you can see here. So those two trays will definitely be on top of each other, and you just need to take out the battery since it's removable, but I'm not going to take it out because I still need the screen on. So you can take this off, just putting your nail right here and then peeling it up. It doesn't have any glue or anything, so it's safe. You won't experience any kind of trouble. You can just literally peel it off. I'll peel it off just so you guys can see that there's nothing to fear. So look, just like that, you just take it out and you can put in your SIM card, whatever it may be. I got this one on a carrier and just pop it in like this. And this one was was previously on T-Mobile. I don't really use this phone anymore, but throughout my experience, I did love the use of this phone. Alright, so onto the build quality. This one is not your typical glass sandwich as we see on most phones nowadays, where they have glass on the front, glass on the back, and metal or aluminum on the sides. This phone does have Gorilla Glass 3 on the front, on the display to protect it. It's an older version. Right now we are on Gorilla Glass 6, so 3 generations behind. But nonetheless, it's still a very sturdy glass. You can easily put a screen protector on this or a tempered glass, and it will be very durable. I have never even cracked the screen, and as you guys can see there, I don't think there's any scratches on this phone, because I did rock it without any kind of protection for a little bit nearing the end of my usage with this phone, but it held up very well. So, like I mentioned earlier, the feel in the hands is very good. It's kind of it's kind of wide on this phone, but you can still use the phone properly. You can easily launch the camera, and there you are. So you can just take it out. I mean, you can do very easy things on this phone, easily one-handed. It's not a problem. It can get annoying at times when you reach for the top maybe, or the opposite corner. It can get kind of annoying, unless you have big hands. My hands are kind of medium-sized. They're not small, but they're not large either. So depending on your hands, it'll be good for big hands or even small hands who are willing to deal with this. It's not too much of a problem, but just letting you guys know. Plus, the weight on this phone is relatively light since this is not aluminum nor metal. This is plastic. This is also plastic, the back. The only glass here is on the front of the display, which is good since it protects the display. And in the long run, plastic will be more durable than glass, just because plastic is plastic, whereas glass will break no matter how strong it is. It will break. This one, yes, I know it has some cracks and dinks here and there, but it holds up well just in the long run. Now, moving on to the processor. This runs a Snapdragon 630, and this is kind of a processor that has been outdated, but it still will give you a decent amount of performance. This has been used commonly back when this processor was first announced, this processor is a very decent one, especially given it's a Snapdragon version and not an Exynos. Because if you get an Exynos version, you will have to suffer the consequences with slightly poor performance than the Snapdragon counterpart. But if you are lucky enough to get a Snapdragon in your hand, then you will not be disappointed with the processor speeds. Now, this processor is more for people who don't heavily game or don't use their phones very much. This is for the average user, not exactly for a power user. I was a power user with this phone. It handled well. Every once in a while, I would find myself dealing with the phone being sluggish or just freezing. So, just keep that in mind. So as you saw there, you can see the speaker was pretty loud. The speaker's in the back, so you won't be getting that dual setup that most phones have nowadays, especially the top-end flagships. Usually they have a speaker in the earpiece, which would be right here, but this is only used for calls. And you won't have any speakers down here because they just didn't place it there. They put the speaker back here. Overall, you will be getting a decent sound, and it's relatively loud, except in loud situations, like if you go to the beach, you may not hear this phone because it's not so loud. But for indoors, it's a very good sound experience. You'll definitely enjoy gaming on this phone. I know I have, especially with the sound up. It's a very good experience. So overall, I've had a pretty good experience with this phone. I definitely would recommend it to those who won't beat up their phones in the sense of overusing it, and because it can get a little sluggish when you are trying to handle multiple apps. But if you are a normal user, it will be perfectly fine. Now, something I forgot to mention was that this phone comes with 16 gigabytes of internal storage. So as we can see here, we go to storage. It'll be checking, it'll take a little bit. It's right there. So 16 gigabytes of internal storage. So it's a pretty decent amount. It's kind of small in my opinion. I did not find it to be enough, so I did have to get an expandable storage option. Thankful for that SD card tray. So it's not enough, but it is what it is. So this one comes with 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, and that is just a joke. So it does not handle a lot of apps well due to the RAM. The RAM can probably handle 1 or 2 apps most. Occasionally it'll give you like a miracle of handling 3, possibly 4, and that's possibly. But in other words, I recommend using it for just like 1 or 2, 3 apps at a time, and overall it'll be a decent experience for you. So something I should have talked about at the beginning, this phone, it comes with Android 5.1, and it only goes up to 7.1. So we can see here that that's the last major update that was ever received on this phone, and the last security patch was there too. So it will originally launch with 5.1, but the max is 7, so this phone is done with updates. So you can't expect anything update wise, because you will not receive it. So if you want updates, and updates are important to you, then you might want to look elsewhere for a different phone. For the price, it's a very good phone, but if you really care about updates, I would recommend definitely going with other options as opposed to this one. Now for compatibility, when it comes to networks, this one will work with any of them, I believe, GSM carriers and the other carriers such as Verizon and Sprint. I use this phone on T-Mobile, like I said, so they should be fine with all the other ones as well. Now for the price. So the price on this phone when it was first released, for me it was $240 here in the US. In the UK it will be around 200 euros. So depending on where you get it. So it was a very decent price, and I got it the year after it was released, so it definitely was a very good performer for the time. And it still keeps up today. It's just you have to deal with a little bit slower speeds, such as the launching of the camera. You can see here it takes a little bit. It's not too fast, but if you're used to flagships such as the brand new Samsung Galaxy S20s or S10s or S9s and even the S8, all of them will still outperform this phone. But if you are looking for a cheaper device, or you just don't want to spend a lot of money, or you can't, especially right now, this is a very good option for you guys. Alright, now I don't remember if I discussed this or not, but for the colors, this one's white. It's a pearlescent white. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this one's white. It also comes in black if you want it in all black, and as well as gold. So I found the gold color to be pretty nice, but I don't think they had it available at the carrier, so I got white. And it's not a bad color at all. It looks very nice. It looks very elegant, because white just gives off that nice look, that sense of beauty, I guess. It's a very nice color. You can see, I think you might be able to see here, the little pearlescence that you get on this part right here. You also get it on the top too. But it's a very good device. I love the color. Alright guys, so now for the most, I guess, the most anticipated part of this is the camera. Now, let's see if I can put this away. So the camera is a very good camera if you know how to use it. And by this I mean that you have to know to control the phone, because it has no image stabilization at all in video or in camera mode whatsoever. So in video it will be kind of a bother, because when you are recording you will notice the shakes, and it kind of messes with the video. But so here we have our modes. We have Pro mode for those who want to adjust their own cameras and know how to use these cameras. And then we have Panorama, Continuous Shot, which is just a multi-capture kind of feature. HDR to make your photos come out better. Beauty Face, Sports, Sound and Shot. So you have your little modes to play with there. There's also other modes right here. So yeah, I don't know why it's not letting me. This has its different modes. You can definitely use it in whichever you like. Most people keep it in auto and just snap a picture. So whatever it is that you're doing, this will probably be more than fine. I will be giving you guys some test pictures and video. That way you guys can see for yourself if you like the video quality or the pictures. And these will mainly just be focused around my garden that I have down in my backyard. So it's not something too drastic, because I can't go outside due to the shutdown. And so I will be giving you guys that as what I can. So I hope you guys enjoy the pictures. I found them personally kind of nice when you get the lighting right and you hold the phone as still as you can. Now on the back, I forgot to mention, is a 13 megapixel camera, and it shoots a maximum of 1080p video, and which is a pretty decent quality for this phone. And the front facing camera is a 5 megapixel f2.2 aperture lens. So there you go. And on this one, you will have your LED flash, which is right here. Not a lot of phones, especially from Samsung, they stopped having the flash on the front because we have pretty much all screen. So there's really not much space, if at all, anywhere to put the front-facing flash. But we do got a flash on the back, as always, just not on the front. So it's good to have the flash on the front in case you want to take those late night selfies with your friends, whatever it may be. You will have a good experience with the selfie camera. It does smoothen out the face a lot, but that's just a characteristic from Samsung, trying to make you guys look better. Apparently it thinks that we're all ugly, so don't take it personally, that's just what it does. Now, for wireless connections, such as NFC, wireless charge, etc., with this one, you will not get wireless charging just because this is a budget phone. You will not get those kind of premium features. If you look up a little higher, if you look for different companies, you will find them with wireless charging. But with Samsung, usually that's how it goes, that their budget and mid-range phones do not support wireless charging, and their flagship phones will. So this one does not come with wireless charging, but it does come with NFC, but only with the Snapdragon model. The Snapdragon model will have NFC, but the Exynos will not. So that's just something to keep in mind. And this one apparently also has Wi-Fi calling, so if you ever need to call over Wi-Fi, that's something you can definitely do. I never really use NFC, but for some people it's a convenience that to have just to pay with their phone. And if you need that, the phone has it, but only in the Snapdragon model, but not on the Exynos, which is unfortunate. And this one has Bluetooth 4.1, not the latest of 5, but it will do a good job. It won't auto-connect with different things. You do have to manually go into this, and then you can press that, and then you'll have your devices come up, and that's how you'll be able to connect it. Whereas on Bluetooth 5, you can actually connect the devices by themselves. So that's a very nice convenience to have. This one also has mobile hotspot if you want to give off your data to someone. And yeah, it's very good when it comes to that. Alright, so in conclusion, what my opinion is, it's a very good phone for the price. You will have other phones that are better though, so make sure you're always considering your options. And if you really want to go with this phone, it won't let you down too much. Just in the RAM part, the RAM will be kind of annoying to deal with, just because it won't be able to handle more than 2 apps, sometimes 3. And I mean, if you're a normal user, you will be fine with it. Like, honestly, you will be fine. You won't mind it at all. But for those who are power users, the one that do a lot of multitasking, I recommend looking elsewhere with a more powerful processor, as well as better performance in multitasking. But like I said, in my experience, it was a very good phone. It had its problems, but it usually always pulled through. I hope that you found this review useful and informative, and I hope you guys like this video, and drop a comment if you have anything to say that might help this channel, and subscribe if you haven't. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Alright guys, so this is the front facing camera. Audio's from here too.